All right. This is Cyclone here, and I wanted to provide a quick update from Borderlands 4 with what I think is the best bosser in the game. This is probably already being used, but again, I don't do reviews or testing, so I'm just me finding it by chance and applying it to my current build is really amazing. So it is a Boomslang. This thing with the rolls you see here, the Torg and the Jacobs, I think they all roll with Jacobs, but if it doesn't all roll with Jacobs, of course you want the Jacobs too. This thing is absolutely, I don't know how to, dude, it's absurd what this gun can do. All right, so before we go any further, just understand this does use the crit knife, so like, yes, we're using something that's known to be broken, but the results speak for themselves. And look it, I think this is an amazing weapon because it's not the best mobber at all, but it completely destroys bosses. This is the most broken thing I've used by leaps and bounds. But to also make this work, first of all, I'm not even using a damage syringe. I could amp my damage with a syringe very easily. I don't even need that. We're using this class mod. This one is just very nice when I'm typically playing the game. If I want to really juice, I can. But I've found that the kinetic damage modifiers for Vex seem to be very helpful. I haven't raw tested it, but I even have, I have ones with gun damage. I don't know if I have one with the gun sniper on me, gun shotgun, but also on top of that, right? This is also benefiting the right skills from the tree. I'm also using this Hawkeye. It has the sniper crit roll, and it's again, you need the sequencer because it's the consecutive critical hits that we care about, right? So all those hits from the Boomslang are all critting. That's what's causing the massive damage. I'm also using a Timekeeper shield, and I'm combining it with Conjunction. I have found that this damage applies to the Timekeeper shield as well. So you are at 30% to my knowledge. I could be wrong, but recent testing seems to indicate that this is proccing the gun damage. So you have damage there. Of course, you have just your green tree happiness. You don't even need a capstone for this build. Like, forget the capstones. They're a waste of time. Just the pure crit modifiers are your friend, but you saw I have splash damage, and then as well, I'm getting gun damage. Splash gun crit, use a nice sniper like this. I have this for health capacity. I could go even more into damage. In fact, if I'm really going to optimize this, I would probably put these points, not here for bossing, because like, you might want to, I'm using some kinetic status effects, so I could put, give some status effect damage. There's ways, after killing something, you could deal increased damage, right? So there's a way I could apply another status effect. Actually, this is, not really necessary. You're about to see why. I could do recurrence. I could max out recurrence instead of this, right? So actually, wait a minute. The way I've done it, I don't actually know if that, wait, no, hold on a minute. No, I think because of the green tree, that's as far as I could get anyway. But I've gone into Conjunction is basically my point. I've found that it's very powerful. Now, let me show you what this thing can actually do. UVH5. I'll just bring a Reaper out. What the hell? Throw a crit knife. He's done. Watch this damage. Gone. He's gone. He's gone. Dude, this is it. When you find the crit scaling multipliers, the multi-hits, that's when you start killing bosses like crazy. Throw the crit knife. 2 shots. He's dead. That's gotta hurt! That's gotta hurt! That's the first time I've gotten that. Yes! That's gotta hurt! I've never seen that yet. Yes, that's gotta hurt. And you see how the devs have put this into the game? So it's okay to be broken, ladies and gentlemen. You can use broken stuff if you want. It's a single player game. Here's the thing. I think this Boomslang is probably the best designed, like, overpowered weapon I've seen in quite a while. The reason why is because it has a significant flaw. Its fire rate is terrible. So you can't, mobbing is very difficult with this thing. Also, I tested this against RJ. It did not do very well. I have to review if RJ has special kinetic shielding or something. Something wasn't right. Also, he's too small for the projectiles to hit. So if you're going against a larger enemy, all of these projectiles can hit the bigger enemy. Because they basically, without other targets, they just kind of fall, but away. And the problem is with RJ, they're not hitting RJ. So you're only hitting RJ with the main shot. So that, I think that's frankly why it's not working. But you saw here, like, Timekeeper's not much bigger than RJ, but it looks like he's hit by all the shots. I don't know to the exact degree of what, is constituting that or what the difference is there. But, like, Timekeeper is a little bigger than RJ, but not that much bigger. Did I miss the crit knife? I did. Oh, God. You see the difference. You see the difference without the crit knife. So, allowing all those hits to crit is crazy. And it's the broken part of this game. Now, do I think that... Whoops. I first need one shot. This is one shot. That's one bullet, guys. I didn't hit the second bullet. That's one bullet. So one bullet's all you need. Okay. I just wanted to see that. And why am I excited? Because I completely found this randomly. I decided to go farm that boss, the guy who drops this. You know the guy. I can't find the map in here. The big dragon, But anyway, I just randomly dropped this, like 5 runs in to just farming that boss. I was using a Chuck build, and the Chuck build's also pretty solid. Like, it's better at hitting RJ, for example. So, like, the Chuck build, I can replace this with my Chuck, my TD, my legendary TD here, and it can be helpful in those situations. But wow, this thing is insane. It's incredible. One bullet. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it's one bullet. One shot. One punch. One shot. I love it, man, when you find the broken shit. Now, let's just say, for example, that this is beyond what the devs want you to be able to do. I understand. I admit. Gotta make sure that the crit procs are still happening. But, like, here's the controversy. The crit knife is just the most powerful thing because it allows you to do this. And a part of me gets it. Like, am I going to use anything else for bossing? No. That's the first bully I found, so I have to keep that. And so the answer is no. I am only going to use something this powerful for bossing, obviously. When the boss can be hit like this. It means that, like, I have complete control over the, just running through the game really fast. I'm farming really efficiently. It's like those one-shot, one-hit kill builds. When the raid boss comes out, the new raid boss, I am almost guaranteeing. Hang on. Let me just give me 1 second here. So the thing is, the challenge is, if they get rid of crit knife, like entirely, then yeah, this build will be basically gutted like a fish. And then, frankly, the TDR build would be preferable because at least the TDR build, I can still use it because it's still good. In fact, since I'm recording this video, I'll show a comparison. Right, same skill points, but I'll show you how the Chuck performs. Right, I'll just the problem is the Chuck is also using the crit knife. So perhaps the question is, if they put those health bar indicators into the game, then it means that they want you to be able to reach those levels of damage. So, frankly, it's actually irrelevant. That wouldn't change anything. Apologies. But the point is, if the crit knife is allowing us to be powerful in the first place to hit those massive damage values, then is it not meant to be? And is the question instead, are the raid bosses going to be able to, you know, survive one? They'll have, like, 5 health bars, and each one has an invincibility phase after you destroy it, something like that, to slow you down and force you to mob for a bit. And people don't like that. But if we're talking about the raid style content, the challenging content, then I have no problem with there being combat phases for those bosses, which would mean that you then have to mob, which would then mean that this build right here is only applicable to when you're ready to shoot the enemy. If there's some sort of combat phase, you got to adjust and use something different. And I get that. Kind of like remember Mega Man, where you'd have to change out the parts for the specific boss you were fighting. It's kind of like that in Borderlands. So, my thinking about the crit knife is very simple. Make it a one-charge knife. I think that's what it takes. And by the way, I have a perfectly rolled. I have the damage and crit damage, so this is a double whammy in the offense department. But, like, I think that the point stands that that's what it takes. Like, this is clearly meant to be in the game. They have a health bar icon indicating when you reach those damage levels. So it's not that you're not supposed to be able to do this. It's that, how easily can you do this, and how are the bosses actually designed? 2 million! 2 million! Let's go! You can see these damage values. It's outrageous. So I think the choice I would put is make the crit knife a one throw thing, so it's a little bit more risk reward in a more mobile situation, perhaps. I didn't get, like, the perfect sweet spot there, but you saw I was still doing plenty of damage with one bullet. So I think it's more about how they design the raid level bosses and how they maybe add some form of invincibility. These are all the very same, I believe. 7436. Yeah, it's the exact same shield ever. Oh, but it has a thing. Does mine have a thing? Actually, okay, that's interesting. See, like, I have an amp shield I could be putting on right now for this. Actually, I could easily do that. I could be using my amp shield. Oh, I don't need this. Well, because it has the modifier on it, I want to collect it. That can be very helpful. The end game really is about, like, finding those little set bonuses so that you can apply them to your gear and enhancements, whatever the hell they're called. I'm actually still not even like max rolled here. I could get more overall damage. There we go. Gone. Jeez. Another ballista. We have the ballistas a bazillion times. Bullet one. All right, let's see how this does. Oh, there we go. When those little projectiles hit him all at once and crit, they all just go to the moon. So again, your thoughts and opinions. I think that there's clearly a place for this because they coded in these health bar indicators that you're doing this much damage. I mean, it's intentional. They want you to be able to break the game to some degree because it's mostly a single player game and it's fun. When you come up with raid bosses, just make them more creative, make them more So that's my thinking there. I think it's I think it's an interesting discussion, um, but again, this is a really interesting item. I think the conversation is more around to what levels do we want players to be able to do this. But I think there's always going to be a place for this. They clearly intend for you to be able to cheese bosses at some level. So my saying would be more into the I would want critting to be maybe limit throws and have the raid bosses introduce more enemy rounds, combat rounds, so that cheesing a boss like this, there's more phasing in between, I guess is what you could call it. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you had fun.